Okay, it's been a little bit. I have fallen off my habits. I'm okay. I don't want to talk about that. Not that I want to talk about it. It's just not what I want to talk about right now. I do have something I want to talk about, though. So I just sort of came over and turned on the camera because I was doing some woodworking. Something happened. I want to talk about it. So, in addition to the frame saw that I've been working on, the last video was all about that, including making some mistakes with the rails. I decided to set that aside for just a little bit because I wanted to be able to cut out the new rails and to do it in a way that didn't end up wasting a whole bunch of wood. And the frame saw is part of my solution to starting to cut better, but another part of the solution is a kerfing plane. So what is a kerfing plane? So a kerfing plane is a hand tool vaguely like this. This is not fully shaped or anything. This is actually failure number one. So what this is basically you shape it to fit your hand. I can go ahead and run this over the wood. This actually I bought with this in a shared kit with the frame saw. So there's a small blade like so, and this will just go up into. Go ahead and insert that into the base here. I think this is why. Yeah. So it actually would fit in here. Of course, this wasn't great. But it goes in here. You go ahead and you can actually run this along the wood. Now, what this doesn't have, that you would eventually have if we kept building on this, is a fence. So you'd have two rods that stick out from the side here, and then a thing that kind of drops down a little bit below. So basically, you can fix the distance that you want this thing to stay from the edge of the piece of wood that you're working on, and then basically run a small saw track or kerf in the wood. Then when you're actually going through it with a full saw, there's already you've already sort of scored it around all four sides, and so the saw plate is very likely to stay in where you want it to be. And that's true whether you end up using a frame saw or any other type of saw. Like, you've already cut it, all around, and so it's already got a groove to and a track to follow. So sounds really helpful. So this one is a failure, and I can tell you exactly what I did. So I started shaping this out. It's been fun because it's the first thing with like curves that I've really ever worked on. And so actually been going had been going at this with a rasp, and still a little bit here needed some more shaping, but I was starting to actually work on the body of this. And one of the things that you need is the brass threaded screw and bolt that go on opposite sides here. And I wasn't positive that I had this traced entirely symmetrically. And so I said, you know what I'll do? I'll go ahead and actually you can see here. There's sort of countersinks. So there's a larger hole for a little bit, and then a smaller hole once you get in there. And I said to myself, well, just to make sure that everything is on center, I'll go ahead and cut the smaller hole first. Went in there with a smaller drill bit, cut all the way through. That way, when I come in from either side, I can make sure that the larger hole is appropriately centered around that. So that doesn't work as a strategy because this is the drill bit that you use, and it actually relies on the center right here to actually locate that larger circle. And so if you go ahead, and this is true whether kind of regardless of what bit you're using, maybe a hole saw would have been fine. But if you don't have something here to actually keep this thing in place and spinning around, it just wobbles all over the place and ends up tearing out like crazy. So ultimately, these ended up woefully out of alignment. You can see, I guess this is notable. Yeah, that hole is not in the center of the larger hole because this thing drifted like crazy. And ultimately, I looked at this, I couldn't figure out a way to recover from that. And yeah, I had to sort of set that aside. But then, as I was thinking about, all right, I want to cut out this new stuff for the frame saw. It'd be nice to go ahead and just finish up the kerfing plane, be able to create those grooves and make sure that I'm not wasting wood and wasting time cutting stuff vastly oversized and having to plane it down because I don't trust myself to saw straight. Which leads me to failure number 2, which I've been working on. And now you'll notice, unlike the previous version, this one actually does have brass here, and then it's actually got the threaded version on the other side. And I was going through making these initial rough shaping saw cuts, just cutting down vertically, and then coming at this with a chisel, shaping this out. And down in this groove here, it's a little difficult to get a chisel this way. So I was going at it across. And up here in this corner, I have this one cut, and I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and nick that out. So I went at it with the chisel, and this whole thing just came right off. Now, this is a split along the grain. It is possible. Well, yeah, it would be possible to go ahead and, if I don't know, I could go ahead and just glue this back on as is, particularly if I had expanding some sort of glue that would expand a little bit, construction adhesive or something. Another thing that you could do would be to go ahead and actually plane this surface flat, plane this surface flat, put it down here. I don't think I want to do either of these. I don't think I want to protect myself from the lesson. Granted, learning how to fix your mistakes in situ is an important lesson too. But this really had me think, and it's one of those moments where, as soon as you hit it and you see what it's doing, you just want to hit the undo button, and then you realize, oh yeah, these sorts of projects are from a world that pre-exist the undo button. It makes me wonder to what extent our exposure to activities with undo buttons cause us to approach our work with less precision and less patience. I remember I was talking to my wife about she had asked me about chess at some point. I think we were talking about the Netflix chess movie, which I haven't seen, but I said, I played chess a lot. I played all through high school, and I was always really bad at it. She was kind of surprised by this, which is flattering. But I said, no, honestly, I've always been really bad at chess, and it is exactly that same sort of feeling of as soon as you do the thing, you go, oh wait, I now I see the consequences of my actions. I did not have the patience to think through things before I did them, and this is this error, this second of errors, is in some ways more frustrating because not knowing the correct order of counterboring, that you should start with the larger hole and then use a smaller hole, so you don't remove the locating part of the wood. That is a mistake I'm not likely to make again. It's not a mistake I have made before, and it is a cool. Now I know now I know not to do that. This thing. This is representative of just about every mistake I've ever made in woodworking, and I'm sure that this is going to come up again. And again, it comes down to just not being patient, and wanting to say, let's just chop that out. You can sand that down if you want. That's probably going too far in the overcautious direction. But trying to tune into what level of patience to have and what level of mindfulness to have versus just trying to get things done. And I feel like, obviously, there's always a sense to over dramatize things. I feel like it's indicative maybe this is representative of more than just woodworking in my life. I need to establish the patience to take things as slow as they need, but not slower. And I'm further away than I want to be from that right now. So backing up from that, another practical lesson, I guess, would be, hey, if you're just trying to get rid of curves, a rasp will do it just fine, as long as you have a small enough rasper file. But two, could also just drill out, even before starting to shape this, take this section, just find the circle, and then go at it with a drill, and just get that waste wood out with a drill, and just find the circles, and then go ahead and do your chiseling and rasping and sawing and everything between those circles. But why go ahead and make yourself crazy trying to make a round shape by a series of, basically triangle cutouts, and then smoothing that out. Like that doesn't need to happen either. Anyway, yeah, this just happened, and I'm frustrated by it. And I'm going to start over. I don't know. I may just go ahead and do the frame saw just to get that done, because now this is it's frustrating. But hey, that's I have to. There are things like this that make me want to go. You know what? Maybe I'm temperamentally not suited to this type of work. And then I have to remind myself that, like, hey, this is exactly one of the things that I'm doing this for, is to, like, as much as I hate this, to do work where the consequences are solely the result of what I put in. Obviously, that's not 100% true. Like, there can always be defects in the wood or things like that. But the those are all things to be worked around. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I don't know what sort of cadence videos are going to be. I'm sure we'll get back to them at some point. But in the meantime, just wanted to get those thoughts out. That'll do it for me. Cheers.